The beating retreat ceremony at the Wagah border crossing on the British-era Grand Trunk Road between Amritsar in India and Lahore in Pakistan takes place daily. Wagah has been the main land crossing between the two countries since they were carved out of British India in 1947 when the Punjab was split in two by the British partition. Partition, which created Pakistan, caused one of the largest migrations in human history. More than 1 million people died as law and order broke down along the soon-to-be border. The Wagah ceremony dates to independence when the armed forces of both sides carried out simple flag-lowering ceremonies at Wagah, a village that had been split in two by the partition of British India. The ceremony, officially known as Beating Retreat, is modeled on an ancient British military routine that called patrolling units back to their bases at sunset. The ceremony starts every evening immediately before sunset with a blustering parade by the soldiers from both sides, and ends with the perfectly coordinated lowering of the two nations' flags. The ceremony is very well attended on the Indian side and less so on the Pakistani side. Beating Retreat is performed by armed paramilitary soldiers of the Indian Border Security Force, or BSF, and Pakistani Ranger soldiers, both in impressive ceremonial dress, including the extraordinary fantail-top turbans. There is a strong security presence at Wagah since in 2014, a terrorist suicide attack killed almost 60 people on the Pakistani side when an explosion ripped through a car park about 500 meters from the border gate just as hundreds of people left the daily performance. On the Indian side, seating is in an arena that could host a sporting event. Vendors roam the stands selling snacks and drinks as if it was a major sporting event, which in reality it is. Before the ceremony starts, the Indian crowd is whipped up by several BSF soldiers whose engaging antics energize the crowd. Beating the Retreat soldiers are specially appointed and trained for this auspicious ceremony. They have a beard and mustache policy for which they are paid additionally. When Beating the Retreat started post-independence, the border soldiers from both sides tried to intimidate each other by throwing high kicks and by staring, but the aggressive actions were toned down, and now the ceremony concludes with a simultaneous flag lowering. The BSF soldier in the arena uses his symbols to highlight the movements by the BSF soldiers marching about, which in turn energizes the Indian spectators. The exaggerated goose-stepping is impressive to watch, but physically hard on the soldiers. The movements by the Indian and Pakistani soldiers are largely mirrored, but unfortunately it's difficult to see the Pakistani side because of the fence. Unfortunately, from the Indian stands, it's hard to get a good view of the Pakistani Rangers' performance. There was a huge contrast between the people in the Indian stands and the Pakistani stands. In the Indian stands, families clapped and sang along to familiar Bollywood songs, whilst in the Pakistani stands, spectators were subdued, with many men wearing beards and traditional clothing, with women wearing heavy clothing and sitting in a separate section of the stands. In short, the Indian stands were in a very festive mood compared to the Pakistani stands. There have been 4 major Indo-Pakistani wars and numerous border skirmishes since the end of British India in 1947. However, there is optimism for a peaceful future as the ceremony concludes with a simultaneous flag lowering. Hindustan was the ancient Persian word for India, and it is often used to refer to the modern-day Republic of India. Slogans involving the term are commonly heard at public events. A visit to Amritsar would be incomplete without a visit to Wagah to witness the impressive beating retreat ceremony. If you enjoyed this film, please subscribe and like. There are many more similar films available on my channel.